Hello! Hi, good afternoon. Sa ibang lugar, dito sa Australia, good evening. Ngayon, nag-live lang ako sandali babatiin ko lang kayo guys, Happy Australia Day. At mayroon lang akong babasahin tungkol sa Australia, okay? Australia Day is the national public holiday on January 26. That is today. On that day, in 1788, 11 convict ships from Britain landed at what is now Port Jackson in New South Wales, Australia, where Governor Arthur Phillip raised the British flag to signal the beginning of British colony here in Australia. Since the early days of British colony, Sydney has marked January 26 using various names such as Anniversary Day, First Landing Day, and Foundation Day. This gradually evolved into Australia Day, and other states and territories officially adopted the name in 1935. Although celebration originally focused on anniversary of the British occupation of New South Wales since 1979, the federal government has promoted an Australian Day that was less British and more Australian in the hope of unifying Australian, increasingly diverse populations. Australia Day eventually became the national public holiday in 1994. According to the National Australian Day Council, is the day to reflect on what it means to be Australian, to celebrate contemporary Australian, and to acknowledge our history. It's really wonderful because every Australian Day, we celebrate like at the moment, you have to go somewhere wearing t-shirts like this, or you join with friends, you go to the beach, or you go to the club and drink Australian beer and meet Australian friends and stuff like that. And some other people, they're saying January 26 is the Invasion Day, Survival Day, Day of Mourning. What's the difference? They are saying that white Australian has a black history. Yes, it can be taken in the sense that it has been a dark or unfortunately history. It is also true in the sense that we were here first. Sometimes people think that Australians started in 200 years ago with the invasion of Brian and the Yorta Yorta. Invasion Day. For those who mark January 26 as Invasion Day, this date represents the British occupation of First Nation people's land. Invasion Day events are held across the country and often includes protests and marches rejecting the celebration of Australia Day on this date. The calling for sovereignty and social justice for First Nation people. Australia Day is 26th of January, a date whose only significance to a mark and coming to Australia of the white people in 1788. It is not a date that is particularly pleasing for Aborigines. Michael Mansell, Aborigines activist. Day of Mourning. Other people commemorate January 26 as a day of mourning, recognizing the violence of the frontier war, including massacre, rape, murder, as well as trauma caused by government policies and assimilation and separation, which removed more people from their land, families, and culture. The first day of mourning and protest was, was organized by pioneer Aboriginal rights activist William Cooper in 1938. During Sydney 150th anniversary celebration, Day of Mourning protests had been held in January 26 ever since. On January 26, Aborigines from across the country will mourn. We will also call for the race-based celebration on January 26 to come to a close and for a new date to be chosen so that we can all proudly wave our flag and celebrate the wonderful country that we now share. Nala Mosyal, Palawa activist, and La Truita, Tasmania. I refuse to celebrate, and every Australia Day my heart is broken as I am reminded that in the eyes of many I am not welcome on my own land. And some people, they call this day today a survival day. Some First Nation people celebrate January 26 as a survival day, an opportunity to recognize the survival of First Nation people culture despite colonization and discrimination. Survival Day event include festival celebrating First Nation culture, taking pride in the First Nation people achievement and showcasing artists and musicians. This event generally have more positive atmosphere than Invasion Day and Day of Mourning event. See guys, in Australia we celebrate different kind of meaning of Australia Day. Because in some other people, uh, we could say that, they have different meaning kasi we are not, an Australian. I'm also Australian, but I am a Filipino Australian. I become Australian citizen, I think, January 1994, because that's the I think that's the first year that I arrived in Australia. But I think after a year I become a citizen of Australia. At that time they are not really strict, to become Australian citizen. At this time they are really, they are really strict about you to become Australian citizen. It takes a lot of effort and knowledge to become Australian citizen. I remember the first time I came to Australia. The first thing they asked me is who is the first Australian Prime Minister. Kaya ang sinagot ko, Sir Edmund Burton from 1901 to 1903. Kasi if you're an Australian citizen, you should know some other Prime Minister in Australia. And as who was the Australia best Prime Minister? Alfred Deakin, who has been two Prime Minister of Australia that become 3 times elected. Alfred Dickens and Andrew Fisher. Who is the Australian ambassador to the Philippines? Oh, that's some of the questions that they're asking you. Stephen Robinson, first Australian ambassador to the Philippines and year. That's all some of the question. Ken Charles Owen McShane in 1957 to 1959. And who is the ambassador from the Philippines now to Australia? Philippine ambassador to Australia is Maria Helen de la Vega. Kaya guys, it's very helpful din. Now we are celebrating Australian Day because it's reminded us of the first day we came to Australia and also how we enjoy become an Australian citizen. And for me, I am happy to become Australian because my two girls and my other girl, Crystal, now is in the Navy, and my other girl is an engineer working here now in Australia, and all my grandkids in Australia are all Australian citizens, and they are benefiting the the democracy and also, you know, the free speech in Australia. Pero at this time, guys, because of the COVID, we are really, uh, you know, a hard time to see each other. At we cannot go for holiday, like going to the Philippines at the moment is really hard. But I'm looking forward for the future to be with my other children in the Philippines, like Dr. Carlo Atienza, yung aking nurse na si Jose Jaime Atienza, tsaka yung aking isang adopted child na sa Pilipinas na si Crystal May Herrero. I'm looking forward to see them and my grandkids, si Basti, si Sofia, si Jake, Emerson Atienza. I'm missing you guys and I hope I will see you in the future. Okay, happy Australia Day to everyone, and I love you, and I'll see you again next year on the Australia Day. We'll do the same thing and I'll talk to you about it. Okay, thank you guys. I love you. Bye.